It's the Broadband Besties Show. Bob and Kim bring you broadband news in a very serious way on the Broadband Besties Show.
Today's episode is brought to you by Warby Parker. We don't want these idiots wearing our glasses. Here are Bob and Kim.
What the heck? I think our glasses look fine. Thank you very much. Gosh,
I even wore my red ones for our second show. I thought I was doing well. What happened, Bestie?
we're very patriotic. We've got red glasses, we've got blue glasses. We don't have white glasses, but
We have
I'm
pink
sure you have
shoes.
pink shoes. What more could you want in life? Well, welcome to the Broadband Besties podcast. I'm Bob. That's Kim. And the fascinating part here is that we actually had people watch our first episode.
What's wrong with them?
I know. There was more than 100. I think we're up to 150, 160 when I checked this morning.
Does
Crazy.
it count if it's all of our relatives watching it that we forced to watch it, or
I love it. Did you bribe your mom with grape nuts and stuff to watch? It's her favorite food.
it is spiking? My mother does love some grape nuts, so she probably did watch this and then turned it off after 3 minutes. But we're back, and what?
But my mother made me homemade minestrone soup and brought it to the office today. Isn't that nice of her?
Your mom brought you minestrone soup, and my mom eats grape nuts. We live different lives, Bestie. That's why we
Very
live on different.
vastly different lives.
That's why we live on different sides of the country. But with that, before we start the broadband news of the day, I need to kind of do a memory in time of since Bob showed on our first show a picture of me. So I wanted to bring my favorite picture. This is Bob. This is from
There.
2022 at the FBA premiere meeting in, I think it was, where was it? In Tampa or what? St. Augustine's, wasn't it? Is it St. Augustine?
Clearwater, Florida.
Oh, well,
St. Pete.
Something like that. St. Pete.
Right.
But anyway, who goes fishing in their Brooks Brothers attire?
Someone who
Anybody?
lives in the Northeast, lives in Connecticut. That's how we roll.
That's how you roll. That's how you go fishing. Okay.
Super preppy. Super preppy.
I'm pretty sure you didn't pick up a fish. I'm pretty sure you didn't even catch a fish on that trip.
I didn't,
just
but
saying.
I showed up in a sob and made it work. Fun
Would that-
fact: those
Okay.
prescription sunglasses were left in a rental car in Knoxville, Tennessee, shortly thereafter. I missed those.
So are they Warby Parkers? Just asking.
They are now.
Anyway, we are here and let's talk about some broadband news. What's going on?
Well, we're back from Connected America. That show was last week, and there was some interesting conversations that were had at Connected America. But I think that the conversation that most people are having in the industry is: are there too many broadband shows now? Right? Because you have FBA, you have Fiber Connect, and the 7 regionals. You have Connected America. They might be doing a second Connected America. There's Broadband Communities, Mountain Connect, WISPA America, Tech Advantage is happening at the same time.
You have all the regional shows that are out there. I make a joke that I see when I go to the shows, I see some of these people who are at these shows more than I see my family and friends. So I do think that there are too many shows out there. I think that everybody's trying to get this information out. So I really commend what people are doing. But I think that a lot of us who attend a decent amount of shows are just tired. Because I think we're seeing each other more than we're seeing people in the audience, especially in this tumultuous time. But I think that I think it's going to be interesting to see where these shows, if any of them fall out in the next few years, as everything is rapidly changing. What do you think?
Well, I mean, FBA, Fiber Connect, they're expecting 5,000 people this year. And, God love Gary Bolton. He keeps investing in that show, and the experience gets better and better. And, when you're in a cement cinder block wall, convention center, it's hard on the body. You're standing on cement, it's echoing the light, so you have to look at all these things. And, what are people going to invest in? I mean, you're noticing now that the vendor community is scaling back on spend because, they've made huge investments for bead and, still waiting for bead, a year and a half later. So, they're not going as big at these shows anymore, and they're having to make a choice. Like sometimes these shows, like Tech Advantage was happening the same time as Connected America this year. So which one do you go to? Do you go to both, or do you choose one or the other if you want more co-ops versus general industry. So the dollars are precious, my friend.
Well, with that, the dollars are precious. And I think that brings us to our second story, which really kind of took me off guard, is that Crown Castle sold off their long haul fiber assets to Zayo, and then they got out of the small cell business as well. And I think what you're really seeing with these kind of stories is that you are seeing that people are going back to their core competency. A lot of people and a lot of companies diversified their product offerings in the last few years because they were trying to hit a lot of markets and really be where the market was. I do think that this is a commendable effort, at least a commendable move by Crown Castle to really focus on what they built their business on, and really go for it. They say that they think they can do with towers what people can do with fiber. I am a little. I don't know if they can. I'm waiting to see. I can't make really a judgment call until they can execute on it. But I think it will be really interesting to see where this falls out and if we see more companies follow suit. It's an interesting marketplace. What about you, Bestie? Any feedback on this one?
Interesting play by Zayo here, because Zayo is making some strategic moves, getting ready for more data center deployments. And the drive with artificial intelligence is driving data center development, co-locations, all that jazz. So we're looking for record need for energy. We're looking record need for fiber. We're looking record need for other infrastructure, water, cooling, all that stuff. And fiber is certainly the backbone for the connectivity for all these data centers. It seems like a couple of years ago everyone was talking about we got to get into the electric co-op space. Now everyone's like we got to get into the data center space. So you're going to see more and more of this, I think, Bestie.
We always say that there's a key word every year in the broadband space. I do think that data center is the key word for 2025, and I think AI is as well. And it's a smart move. I mean, everybody's trying to find ways to build data centers in places with enough capacity and all of the things, utilities they need. And that is a lot harder than the average Joe really thinks to do. So fun times. And then I'm going to pass it back to you. What do we got for the last story of the day, my friend? Let's go.
Well, before we get to your hot date tonight, I do want to talk a little bit, Bestie, about
somebody's taking me out on
bead.
a date tonight. Somebody's taking
a second date tonight, from what I understand.
We'll see how it goes. Probably not a third, but let's go.
Number two. She's a runner. Just run slowly if you like them. Okay, well we've covered the date already. So lastly, speed for bead. We were at Connected America, sat down with Phil Macris, good old Phil, and we were talking a little bit about speed
my
for
dance
bead.
partner at the
karaoke party last year. He had something very interesting to say. And, we were talking a lot about speed for bead, what this means. And, he thinks, 3 to 6 month additional delay max, which I think is actually good news for most people. So, steady on the rudder, keep moving forward. But what he did say, when asked, what's your advice for state broadband directors, with the new administration in here? And he said, don't gunk it up with, adding programs back in, adding layers to it. He said, just look and see what the guidance from Department of Commerce is. Look at what, Ariel Roth says, and just, try to keep your state plans right in alignment with, what NTIA is putting out. The other thing that he said also is that it doesn't look like states are going to have to resubmit applications already, because that would just add more and more delays. So it's actually a bit of good news when it comes to bead and speed for bead. I got the need for speed for bead.
Well, I think that, and I talked to Philip as well, and I think
aren't you special?
Well, we were dance partners, just so you know.
Are we fighting for Philip's attention?
We basically
is this
are.
Gonna be a tug of war?
But I think that. Wow.
That's a first. That's a first time for Philip. He's loving all this attention.
what I do think is that for good or bad, whether you're a fiber advocate or you're a WISP advocate, all of this is that we're working together to make sure we connect America, whatever technology. And I think that is a benefit. And I do think that some of these things could get executed faster with this combined effort, with both industries, the WISP and the fiber industry working together to make sure this happens. So I do think that there's some positive momentum. So I think that's all I have to say. Is it bedtime yet?
Yeah, it is bedtime. Good luck on your date tonight, Bestie. Date number 2. We hope there's a date number 3, and we'll see how it goes. And as always, Broadband Besties, we try to give you the week in broadband news, 10 minutes or
10
less.
minutes
Ish. That's right. Thanks for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Broadband Besties.
Later.
It's the Broadband Besties Show.